Gators Breakdown, because there's never a dull moment in Gator Nation.
The Gators Breakdown podcast is ready to go. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on social media at GatorDave_SEC. And here we are. Hey, look, if you're watching the YouTube version live, you can see him right here, quarterback for the Florida Gators, Graham Mertz, joining us right here on Gators Breakdown through Florida Victorious. Hey, Graham, thanks for hopping on Gators Breakdown, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to it. So it's gonna be a fun time together.
Yeah, first one like this through a Gator podcast. There's a lot of us.
I think so. So. Yeah. I mean, obviously we do media every week, so it's a little different, a little more relaxed, a little laid back.
Yeah, exactly. I've only got to speak to you once after a game. I'm in the press after the game. I don't get to go. I'm in Jacksonville, so I don't get to go to Gainesville, through the week and stuff. But after games and stuff, I'll be in there. So, but yeah, that's the only time I've got to speak to you. But now right here on Gators Breakdown. So one more time, thank you for joining us right here. So everybody hit that like button, subscribe to Gators Breakdown right here as we spend about a half hour or so right here with Graham Mertz, Florida Gators quarterback. Subscribe to Gators Breakdown here on YouTube. Hit that like button. Really goes a long way helping Gators Breakdown out. So first, Graham, I know you had a media session yesterday and stuff, but for people who haven't seen that, Gator fans who haven't seen that, of course, we just want to know how you doing after the injury, how the recovery timeline is going.
Man, I'm doing great. I mean, recovery is right on schedule, so can't complain about that. I mean, obviously we got a great setup with our physical therapy group and all that, and everybody in there. So I'm right on schedule, doing great.
When's the next time you can throw a football?
I might have. To what extent?
Okay. Seriously, throwing a football.
I don't know. Probably in the near future. I mean, I threw it around a little bit today, but nothing crazy.
Yeah.
I might have had my arm in a sling right here, but so I had an itch to throw a football. So they were at the end of therapy and treatment today. They let me toss it around a little bit, which was it was fun.
Yeah. Hey, there we go. As long as it's cleared, we're okay. We're okay.
Oh yeah. We're all good.
Hey, let's go back to that night there in Missouri for a second before we move forward. And man, actually throughout the season, you gained so much respect from Gator Nation. And look, I think college football too, from getting hit time and time again and getting up time and time again from a lot of those hard hits throughout the season. But this play, instead, you brought the hammer and we're running over the Missouri defenders. And look, little did we know what had happened. It looks like at the time you didn't know either. Was it as simple as the adrenaline kicking in and not feeling the pain right away until a play later?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. I mean, I made the first hit and then got through there, and I was already fired up because I knew I got a first down. And I think it was like a 3rd and 6, so I had a big time in the game, so knew I had to get it. And then as soon as I got up from the hit, I saw like the entire sideline, players, coaches, everybody jumping around. So I was fired up, man. Adrenaline was kicking, and then the adrenaline quickly went away, and I felt that on the next play. So in the moment, it was a blast. Something I'll never forget. So
yeah, like I said, we hate what happened there, of course. And, now we'll hope you're just on that recovery timeline, like we were saying. But as I said, just kept giving up, man, over and over again throughout the season. And, we were hoping that was just a small nothing because we've seen you get up so many times this season. But, not to be there that night in Missouri. So let's go back a little bit. Well, not a little bit. Just recently, last week, you announced the decision to come back. And you mentioned yesterday there's some stuff that's left on the table. There's some unfinished business. What gives you confidence that there's more out there for this Gator team next season?
I think it's everybody. Even fans, coaches, players. We all know what we want, and we want to win. And I'm confident in Coach Napier's his system in the offseason program, and I'm looking forward to. It's kind of different for me coming back another year with experience in the offense because this time last year I was learning the offense, so I was kind of relying on just getting with the guys and throwing a little bit, not really understanding the full play, but understanding the route. So, I'm looking forward to really diving in this offseason and having that experience under my belt in the offense, and yeah, just leading the guys and getting a little bit better every day. And I think we're across the board. We know that we let some stuff get away from us this year, and we might have shot ourselves in the foot a little bit. So, I mean, we went back and watched the tape, and there was always a few plays every game that altered it. And I think the big thing is we know we can control it, and that goes throughout the entire offseason. And that's where we need everybody to buy into our process, and we need to grow together. And I think across the board, the guys have that mindset where we don't want to have that feeling in the locker room after a close loss. I mean, we don't like that feeling. And I talked to the guys this last week when we had a team meeting. I'm like, guys, that feeling should push you every day in the off season when you're in a workout that's hard or something's not going the way you want. I mean, that you gotta be able to channel that feeling and have that pull you through the hard days. And I mean, I think across the board, the guys don't like that. They don't like that feeling. And that's the biggest driving force, that the guys just want to win. And this team's hungry. We're young. They had that experience, and they don't want to experience that again.
You mentioned Coach Napier there. If there is part of this that you can share, was there a message from him? You know, what was his reception of your decision to come back?
Yeah, I mean, I met with him multiple times. I mean, there was probably not during the Florida State week. I mean, obviously, I wasn't playing, so that was kind of on my mind. But I wanted to wait till after that week to sit down and talk with him. But we talked multiple times about all the options, which was the NFL was coming back, and I mean, it was great, and he was a sounding board for me. I was able to really talk through all these different points that I wanted to get through, and I mean, I think the biggest thing is that I put it in my post, and he's not gonna go out there and say unfinished business, but I'm confident doing it because I feel that way, and I know that across the organization that's the feeling, and there's so much more left on the table that not only the players and staff and everybody in that building wants, but Gator Nation wants as well. So we're gonna work like crazy this year to ensure that.
Sounds good. Graham, let's go back to last year. And before the season, all the talk was, hey, it didn't work out at Wisconsin. Now he's coming to Florida. He's coming to play in the SEC. Hey, there's no way it'll work. It's harder in the SEC. Yeah. Look, and I remember looking at preseason magazines before the season. There's a list of 15 transfer portal quarterbacks, and Graham Mertz is 15th. And I'm like, oh, come on now. I mean, there's no way. I couldn't understand, you being ranked 15th on a list like that. Yeah. And all you do is come in the SEC and you have your best season yet. Was that, I mean, I know you, from getting to know you a little bit these last few months, I know that wasn't your driving motivation, but was there some motivation from all the talk from coming to Wisconsin and going to Florida and it not working out to your bottom on the list of transfer portal quarterbacks? Was there some motivation there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's there's a lot that goes into that question and that answer. I think I think anybody that looks back at my career at Wisconsin, they would say it didn't work out. And I think on my end, on the football end, that I would say the same. I mean, I'd say I didn't maximize my time there. I didn't play my best ball there. But I will say that experience turned me into the man I am today. And I'm forever thankful for that. And the people there, the way they influenced me, they showed me how to do it the right way. So at my time there, I mean, I learned a lot, and I'm forever thankful for that because it shaped me into who I am today. And but yeah, I mean, you enter the portal, and at that time, I mean, the portal is different from that point last year to this point now. Yeah. Right now, I mean, it's grown, it's evolved, it's changed. But I mean, at the time, there were a lot of guys in the portal, and I took a bunch of visits. And when I came down here, I mean, as far as I always talk about our coach's process and how they line it up for us, and how when you buy into it, you grow. And I think the biggest thing was they laid out a plan in front of me. They laid out my strengths, my weaknesses, how to improve my weaknesses, all this stuff. And I mean, from the start, I knew that it was a year of work, and I was ready to go all in on it. So, I mean, I've never really been a big external motivation guy. I kind of always find it inside and through the people around me. And I think that should be the driving force. And that's why I always hit the guys on, like, guys, it's always good to look at stuff and see it, but you got to be motivated by the people in the room and the people around you and yourself. And so, I mean, my biggest thing this year was I wasn't just like thinking about stats or thinking about playing good. I mean, I wanted to do everything I could to help out those guys in that locker room, those coaches, across the board, the strength staff. I mean, everybody in there. I mean, I think that's where you free yourself up to play your best, is when you're not playing for yourself.
I'll say maybe a little bit of chip on the shoulder.
Oh, chip. Yeah. Well, I think that's healthy. I think everybody should have some form of chip on their shoulder.
Good deal. Graham, where do you feel like you improved the most as a quarterback as we go through spring practice, fall camp, game 1 to game 11 to Missouri? Where do you feel like, on the field that maybe that wasn't at Wisconsin, or maybe that you improved on from Wisconsin to now? Where do you feel you grew the most?
Oh gosh. I think the biggest thing that I saw the growth, and this, I always do this, man. You got to stop me from doing this, but I always talk about the process.
Okay.
And for me, it was the whole year leading up to fall camp. And for me, it was the amount of reps I took, whether it was in the film room, just throwing a football, taking drops, working on my mechanics. And then it was getting to know the guys. And so for me, it was a holistic approach that led to, on the field, being able to be more efficient, take care of the ball, move the sticks, and you want to finish drives and be efficient on third down. So I think the holistic approach of really buying into your individual process is what evolves onto the field and frees you up to go play confident, go play free. So, I mean, I think the biggest thing this year was taking care of the football, and obviously had a few sack fumbles, and I'm already addressing those in preparation for next year, and 2 hands on the ball, moving through the pocket. So, I mean, I learned a lot this year about my game and how I can constantly be evolving, constantly be improving. So, I'm looking forward to another year of it.
Yeah, man. I mean, you mentioned it. Yeah, the interception numbers way down there, and I was got, like you said, probably just comfortability, another year of football. But as you said, and we heard it from everybody as soon as you come in, and it's the things we want to hear in the locker room, in the film room. Being the leader that we wanted to hear about, and we heard those things from day one. It does certainly look like it paid off there for you. So
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man, we excited to see that next step. We'll get into that too in just a second, but let's get off the field for a second. This interview is being brought to us by Florida Victorious, and you've been a big proponent and a member of Florida Victorious there as a student athlete. And you said yesterday in a media session that NIL really didn't influence your return, but there is a great entity there at Florida with Florida Victorious that you've been involved with. And how has that experience been? And like, if a new player is coming into Florida and they're looking for an opportunity in NIL and they're Florida Victorious is there, why would you tell them to take part in Florida Victorious?
I mean, I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great thing. I mean, the biggest thing that I take away from it is the people that I've met, the people that are surrounded, the people that are in that group. They're awesome, and their relationships that I have met them one time, and now I keep up with them, and I stick together with them. So, I think the biggest thing in that is that it's a great thing for us. I mean, we appreciate it a ton, and it's so fun being around your teammates in different environments and interacting with people that are fans that work at different areas. So, for me, I think the biggest thing has been being able to put yourself into the community and meet these amazing people that are in the Gainesville area. So it's been an absolute blast.
I guess going to that too, do you feel like as a transfer coming in, I guess this cup probably could speak for a freshman as well, do you think it endeared yourself to Gator Nation probably a little faster than if you didn't do those things? Yeah.
I mean, I think a ton of different ways. I think my first experience was I was working with Habitat for Humanity down here, and we met the future owner of the house, and she was a huge Gator fan. And like at the time, like no one knew who I was or where I was coming from, but it was just, I just saw how juiced up she was about Gator football and Gator Nation. So for me, I think it's great coming from a place that has great tradition in Wisconsin. I mean, getting to a new place and learning how passionate people are about Gator football and the entire university. I mean, that fuels you even more in your work to want to go out there and put out a good product for them.
Graham, how is it working with the leadership at Florida Victorious, and maybe the message they send you guys about maybe the importance of NIL and doing it the right way?
Yeah, I think that's everything, and I think I mean they do so much for us, and whether it's financial literacy or all these different ways of teaching you how to be smart with your money. I mean, I think that's huge, especially in today's world where there's a lot of different factors that come in, and it can confuse you sometimes. They do a great job of educating us on what's going on, how to be ready for certain things that come up. So, I mean, I think the leadership in that group is fantastic across the board. I mean, I think they do a great job of giving us great opportunities to go out there and meet people and put ourselves in the community and be fully immersed in the Gainesville area. So, I mean, I have nothing but absolute great things to say about those people.
Awesome. And guys, hey, look, guys, out there, you can be the difference as well through Florida Victorious. For the first time ever, you can directly impact the outcome on the field by joining Florida Victorious. Want to help the Gators win? Want a better game day experience? Well, just like when you pack the swamp, your unwavering support through Florida Victorious empowers the Gators to be their best. So join today. You can be the difference in making the orange and blue victorious. Save 20% with promo code GatorsBD. Link is in the description to join Florida Victorious. So, Graham, let's get back to it. And you've kind of briefly mentioned it here, but we've just talked about some stuff on the field for you. What is the next step for you, this Gator offense? What steps do you want to take? What steps do you want to see this offense take?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff. I think across the board, I mean, we all know that we need to take a step, like you just said. And for a lot of different people, it's a lot of different things. But I know on my end, it's being able to be better in any sense I can for the guys around me. And I think that, like I said earlier, this offseason is going to be huge, being able to be immersed in the offense, understanding how a whole season played out and how different things work off of each other. I think being able to bring that to the table and from day one, as soon as we get back in the winter and we start working out, being able to speak the language of the offense and really push these guys to get better and learn it quicker. So, I mean, I think that we're looking forward to just getting back to work. And I mean, that's the main focus of everybody on this team right now.
Graham, if it is right, I guess one angle of the offense that I think is probably brought up the most is maybe the downfield passing aspect. So what did you see this season from that? Were there more opportunities? Is that a place to get better as maybe one of those next steps in this offense? Yeah,
I think so. And I think there's a lot of different aspects that lead to that. And I think that, like, I always think back to what I can do better in that sense. And I think across the board, it's on my end, it's being better in protection, getting us in the right call, picking up blitzes, and then obviously just taking my one-on-one matchups, giving them their best shot to make a play and getting it in their radius. So, I mean, that's definitely an area of focus and definitely an area that we're gonna work this offseason on.
Good deal. So, all right, Graham, I gotta know this one. You probably have a little bit of fun with this one, but coming from the Big Ten, you played in some great college football atmospheres. They
very cold atmosphere.
That's true too. That's true. Hey, this is a different kind of weather you had to go through for. That's another question. Before we do go for, how was that? Like, how were those July, August swampy camp days?
Very swampy. The humidity was just my first experience. I came down in like January and I was gone in February, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so hot. And then I think it was like Austin Barber. We were on the course. He looks at me. He's like, oh, just wait, buddy. And once we hit camp, I was like, okay, this is the humidity we were talking about. So it took me about a week and a lot of water bottles later of getting used to the humidity. So it was definitely a learning curve, but we got through it.
All right, so then now you got to get through fall camp and you get to the season. Mm-hmm. How do all those Big Ten great atmospheres, how does it compare to what you just went through the last month? Whether it be a home game at the Swamp, whether it be on the road at Death Valley, LSU, or hey, even for the first time, you probably played in a unique atmosphere like Florida, Georgia, in a neutral site there here in Jacksonville. So if you can go, maybe through all those three, what was it like playing in the SEC this year? The big home game versus Tennessee and the big win, and how all that played out. How was your first experience in the SEC?
I mean, it was awesome. It was awesome. I mean, I think I'll think back to Big Ten for a second, but I mean, across the board, I mean, the thing that I appreciate a ton is being able to play in two great conferences and two historic conferences. So, I mean, I've played in pretty much every Big Ten stadium on the west side, and then coming down here, I mean, every game was just electric, no matter where we were at. So that was always it was a blast this year, just seeing all these different places. And I mean, I've played in multiple stadiums in the past a few times. So for me, it was getting that new taste of different game day environments, and just the passionate fans across the board in SEC it was a blast.
Did Death Valley, LSU, did that live up to the reputation?
Oh yeah. Death Valley definitely lived up to it. That was a fun one.
What was the experience like for the Tennessee win? I mean, I know it was kind of long ago, but that was probably definitely the biggest home game atmosphere win. It was so much ramped up, and it played out that way. Was that a memorable moment for you this past year?
Oh yeah, I think for me that was probably my most memorable moment this year, and I think just across the board it was like all those plays just staying out of my mind. The guys just out there making plays and having fun. I think about Trey. I think about K-Jack's catch. I think about all these guys that just went out there and played free and had fun, and that's definitely a memory that we'll never forget together. So, and the Swamp was rocking. Yeah. I mean, that was an experience in and of itself. Is just being sitting on the sideline watching our defense out there and not being able to hear the coach right in front of me was that was a first. So that was definitely an awesome experience.
You know all the lyrics to "Won't Back Down" yet?
Oh yeah.
Did you know it before?
I did not.
Okay.
And then this is actually a funny story. So I didn't know it. And then I was walking in the locker room one day and it said it just said "Won't Back Down" on the wall. And then it said Tom Petty. I'm like, okay. I'm like, is that the song they play? Because I'm used to Jump Around.
True. Yeah, okay, there we go. Yeah, I didn't even put that together, but yeah, another good tradition there. Yeah.
Yeah, and I kept seeing these videos like in early January, February of guys like singing. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like they got a song. And I really started like looking at it. I'm like, this is sick. So then I like all of fall camp, I mean, I'd wake up and I'd play that on my way into the facility. And it slowly became one of my favorite songs.
And then when your first, big time in the Swamp moments, and finally the LED lights and they turn all the lights off and the phones are lit up. I mean, it's pretty good.
Oh yeah. But I tell you what, I didn't know. So I can't remember what was the first home game. Was that McNeese?
McNeese, yeah. So
we scored the first touchdown, and I thought there was like a power outage for a second. I didn't know they were gonna do that whole light show thing, but so I was shocked at the start, and I was like, whoa, and then I figured it out. It took a second, but I figured it out, and I thought that was sweet. So
that was something Gators have been asking for years. So
oh yeah.
I'm gonna give you credit. It was your first year. Graham Mertz brought the LED lights. There we go.
Oh yeah.
Graham, how involved are you, and will this expand in the actual game plan through a week? Is there a typical, what's a typical week like of install? And is maybe going through your conversations with Billy Napier recently, is that something that will grow more your second season in the offense? And one player I want to, we don't get to hear a lot of, but I see you talking to on the sideline a lot, and I know he's really integral behind the scenes, is Ryan O'Hara and the role he plays.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing, and we kind of always, where we work together during the week on this and just communicating on little intricate details of certain plays. So, I mean, we start on Sunday, we get an install, and then every day you'll get an install of new things. We'll go through it, talk through what we like, talk through the different looks that we could see, and talk through maybe a slight change in where the either the protection or where the running back's checking down. So there's a lot of details that go into the week, and the biggest thing I appreciate is just the open communication about the plan, and it allows us to work together and figure out what's best for the offense. So it's always a blast in the week of prep.
Yeah, a few more minutes right here with Graham Mertz. And hey, one player I think you'll be throwing the ball to a lot next year, and really came on, true freshman wide receiver Trey Wilson. Yeah, as this season went on, we saw the increase of usage, especially this first drive of games. How fast did you know he was going to be that guy?
So I actually just talked about this. This is funny. So he came in the summer. So he came in. He wasn't like a mid-year guy, and everybody. I kept getting like little subtle hints, like, "Oh yeah, just wait till you see that guy in pads." And I was like, "Okay, like I'll see." And then because he was banged up a little bit, I think he had like a hamstring week or something, so he wasn't really doing workouts. And then we get into camp, and I think for the first day he might have been. I don't know what he was doing. He might have been out the first day or two. And then he came back, and I threw him like an out route or something. And so he caught the pass and I think he stuck his right foot in the ground and just spun around, housed it. the first ball I threw to him. And I remember just looking back at coach and being like, "Oh, you weren't lying about that guy." and he thought that was funny. So, I mean, I knew after that, I was like, all right, we got to get this guy the rock. And but yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I saw was throughout the year, just his growth of understanding the offense, understanding his role in it, and how to really just maximize his touches. And that was one thing that, I mean, I think back to just the two balls I threw to him in the first drive of Georgia. I mean, just playing fast, playing free, trusting his skill. And I think that's one thing for him that, if he just trusts his skill and plays fast, I mean, he's pretty freaking good. So I'm looking forward to another year of growing together and growing that chemistry of just knowing where he's going to be at and feeling that out and just growing in the offense together. So that will definitely be fun with Trey.
Yeah, man, that first ball you threw to him for the first touchdown against Arkansas.
Oh yeah, that was.
I don't know if I'm lying or not, but to me, that might have been your best throw. I mean,
I'll take that. I was fired up.
Man, the placement, the zip. I mean, where it had to be. I mean, I was up in the press box. Like, oh wow, there we go.
that was a fun one. And the funny thing was, like, I hadn't thrown that ball to Trey the whole week, and we repped a bunch. I think that ball I was throwing to Ricky like the whole week. We were like, all right, this could be. It's either going to go to, and they switched spots on that one, and I was like, oh, okay. And Trey, it was a savvy play by Trey, actually. So if you go back and watch it, I think it was like the flat defender, the safety was outside of him. He had like a little out and up. So he ran the out and then just kind of gave him a little shake and just took it with speed up vertical because he was outside of him. And I was like, I've never seen a freshman think on the fly like that. Oh. So it was actually like, I felt like I was throwing to like a 6-year senior receiver that just felt it out and then but he just, it was a savvy play by him. And that just goes to show that when he plays fast, it's hard to cover that dude. Like I wouldn't try to cover him.
Hey, there was another player that was hard to cover this year for Florida. But hey, what is Florida going to miss the most about Ricky Pearsall and all the catches and all the leadership that he brought? And also on the unfortunate news, and however you want to go into it, Trevor Etienne transferring away, what would him be out of the offense, mean for this offense as well? Missing Ricky Pearsall and now missing also Trevor Etienne.
Yeah, I mean, first I'll start with Rick. I mean, the biggest thing I'm gonna miss is just that's my dog, man. I mean, he's my best friend. He'll be my best friend for life. So him not being here will be different. But I mean, on the field, I mean, that's a guy that just complete playmaker in every sense. I mean, we had a running joke where I would be like, all right, Rick, where do you want me to put that ball? Like I'd go to him after I threw him a ball and he just made a crazy catch. I'm like, okay, where do you want me to put it? And he'd always go, anywhere around here and give me like a wide arm. And so that was the biggest thing with him was like, I knew anytime I put it around him, like he was going to catch it. And he was going to make that play. He had that fire and he's a competitor. And I think that's one thing that the young guys in the room learned from him is that just the type of competitor he is. I mean, he never backs down, as Tom Petty would say. And he loves ball. He loves this place, and he went all in on his process. And I think the guys saw that, and they were able to take things from that and apply it to theirs. So I think his leadership was just fantastic in that room and on the team. So we're definitely going to miss Rick. I mean, overall, he's a great guy, great teammate, great player. So he was definitely gonna be missed, but I'm definitely be wearing his phone out like every day. And then, I mean, just Trevor, I mean, he's just a special player, and that's something that, I mean, he's got that in his veins. He was born with it, and he grew it in his time here. So we're definitely going to miss that. So those are two key pieces that are going to be different. And we're going to have to work together as a team to figure out how to fill those voids.
All right, Graham, I ask every player this before I let him go. Billy Napier's going to come to you, and he says, Graham, all right, you're going to pick the uniform we're going to wear tonight. So what color helmet, what color jersey, what color pants is Graham Mertz going to roll out of the swamp with?
I think there's only one answer now.
Okay.
I think after, I mean, obviously we didn't end the game we wanted to, but those black uniforms, man, that black helmet was just wild, man. I mean, that's the best uniform I ever put on in my life.
There we go. Did you ever wear black at Wisconsin?
Oh, never.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Black was in high school. State championship, Blue Valley North. And up.
So then you got to take part in Florida for the first time doing it.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
There we go. All right, Graham. Hey, man, before I let you go, good buddy, longtime listener of Gators Breakdown Plus member as well, Kevin Harris sent me something I just had to share with you. His 6-year-old daughter, Savannah, made a thank you note for her favorite players. There you are at the top. So here it is. She says, hi, thank you for the season, and get well soon, from Savannah Harris. So,
well, thank you, Savannah. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. That's what Gator Nation is all about, Graham. I think you've learned in the year that you've been here.
Well, I mean, I got to say one thing, because I don't get this platform a lot. I just want to say, and to all of Gator Nation tuning in, I mean, I appreciate all the support throughout the year for this team. I mean, I know we're hungry. I know you guys are hungry. And I know that we're going to get to where we want to go. So we appreciate everything, all the passion, all the love. I mean, we're just as passionate. We love this thing just as much as you guys. So, I mean, my promise to you is that I'm going to give it everything I got, and I'm going to lay it all on the line for this year. I only got one of them, so I'm going to give you everything I got. So, appreciate it. Back to Savannah. Appreciate the letter. That was really sweet.
Yeah, hey, good deal, man. All those words you just said, we know it comes from the heart. We know you mean it, man. Like I said, we saw you get up time and time again and be the leader all throughout this year that you were at the quarterback spot for the Gators. So, hey, congrats for a big season. Get well soon, and like you said, hopefully even more next year for Gator Nation.
Well, I appreciate that, Don. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, man. Graham, thanks so much. And hopefully we can do it again.
Oh yeah, we'll do it again. Come on, we got a whole year.
There we go. All right, Graham. Thank you. Quarterback for the Gators, Graham Mertz, joining us right here on Gators Breakdown. Thanks, man.
All right, thank you.
All right. Hey, good stuff right there. Quarterback Graham Mertz for the Gators. Man, that was good. That was some good stuff there. Big thanks to him. Big thanks to Florida Victorious once again for allowing and setting that up. Thanks to University of Florida as well for all their help in setting that up. It's a big time gift right there for get the quarterback right here for all you loyal Gators Breakdown listeners. Hey, join us live there too. So once again, big thanks. So we'll get into it, guys, too, as well. I know we had set this up before the news had come out, but there's no surprise, really, if you have followed Gators Breakdown, if you follow social media, dating back to really last week, but maybe behind the scenes, even the works even more than that about Trevor Etienne, running back for the Gators, hit the transfer portal, of course. Can't go by without talking for that, talking about that. And it stings. It certainly really stings there. You heard just Mertz there talk about the type of player he is and how he's going to be missed and how they got to replace him next year. And I think a lot of the question that comes out is why. I think for Etienne, maybe a chance to go maybe win some more ball games. He'll be in his third year next year, and could be his last year at college football. And so maybe sees another opportunity there to win more games somewhere else. I know NIL and money will be brought up, and I'm sure that plays a part. But look, I mean, his brother's in the NFL. There's that NFL money there. He's Etienne himself. Trevor has done really well for himself in the NIL world at Florida. So, I'm sure he'll get rewarded handsomely at his next stop too. But I don't think that's the driving factor here. And I know splitting carries is maybe a part that gets brought up. That's an argument too. Maybe he should have gotten more. But it's not like he's going to be a workhorse elsewhere. And not many places do that anymore. So now it's just, is it just a matter of getting more touches? Okay. But, I won't doubt that plays a maybe small part as well. But from my understanding, it's a lot, trying to go get some wins in what might be his last year of college football, from my understanding. And that's just where things that I can put together, things that I'm being told. But the bad part of that about this is, Billy Napier coming into Florida, choosing to tear this thing down to the ground level and build it back up. And now you don't get to see that pay off with a player like Trevor Etienne. I mean, a lot of good plays the last couple of years. He's supposed to be a big part of what is going to be a critical year 3 for Billy Napier. And you're losing one of those foundational pieces of the rebuild. Now you got to replace that. You got to find a way to replace it. It does make it harder. Doesn't mean you can't overcome it, but it's going to make it harder. And if the plan was a rebuild and the first couple of seasons may be rough because of it, well, you need to see one of those players. You need to see that payoff. And we're going to see that payoff anymore. One of those key pieces are gone. So, Napier chose to build by getting his players in and giving them lots of reps, not only to see one of those best of that scenario head elsewhere and somebody else get advantage and take advantage of the development and the playmaking ability of Trevor Etienne, a guy that you were going to count on through a rebuild. So, a player like this was supposed to be the payoff to all those reps to young guys. Now, I've heard some express out there that this isn't a big loss, and I'm going to disagree with you. I think it is. I know overall the running back position is not as valuable as it once was in the game of college football, but in a Billy Napier offense, it is. And no doubt, he's one of the better players on the team, or was one of the best players on the team. And I keep seeing knocks on him and his pass protection. And okay, all right, well, show me the perfect player out there. Right now, there's not many of them. Everybody's got their flaws, and he was able to overcome those a bit. And show me the teams that are interested in him. And I think the word has started to leak out already, even before he announced that if he was going to announce that a team like Georgia would be a team he might go to. And now it's starting to come out. Ohio State, Alabama, maybe even LSU in the mix. And that's teams that have played for SEC championships the last couple of years and the college football playoff. And those teams want Trevor Etienne. So, kind of miss me with the whole he isn't good or isn't good enough and can just easily be replaced. I hope he can. It won't be easy, but he's still the best proven playmaker Florida had out of that backfield. And I know him and Johnson's stats are very similar. And look, I've defended Montreal Johnson a lot more than most, but still, while the stats may be similar, the way they get there is a little different. And Etienne's just that threat to hit a home run when the ball's in his hands. And maybe if he gets a few more touches a game, you get a few more explosives or a couple more explosives a game. So all in all, to me, it just kind of makes this rebuild harder. We'll see who they replace him with. As I did mention, Montreal Johnson, Cam Carroll will be back hopefully next year. How much will he bounce back from that injury? Of course, you got Trayon Webb as well, who showed some flashes there. And of course, he wasn't going to get the same freshman opportunities that Trevor Etienne got the year before because of what Trevor Etienne was. And you had Montreal Johnson and Trevor Etienne in front of him. So maybe there's more there that we just didn't get to see because he had two really good backs in front of him. We saw some flashes there. So hopefully that pays off. And we'll see what Florida does. Kanan Daniels committed right now. They're going to be going after some other running backs out there. And they might get some news on that pretty soon as well for the 2024 class. So we'll see how Florida replaces Trevor Etienne. I'm not saying he's not replaceable somewhat. It's just he's one of the better players on the team. It's not just as simple as, oh, we're just going to replace him. To me, it's not. I mean, Now, maybe Florida changes the offense a bit. Maybe with Graham Mertz, Florida opens up the passing game a bit more to where a player like Trevor Etienne, the value does go down a little bit more if you're throwing the ball a little bit more, or your better weapons are outside. Are there ways to adjust? Certainly there are. But I think, put it this way, you don't get better by losing a player like Trevor Etienne. That's just the way I'll go in that one. So there we go. Really good episode. Had Graham Mertz on here. Good stuff. Not so good stuff with the news of, and it wasn't a huge surprise. A lot of people wanted to accuse us of making some fake headlines the last week or so and trying to get noticed or whatever. But no, you guys know that's not the way I operate, not the way I work. If I'm going to talk about it, I think there's a legit reason to talk about it. We've been talking about ETN and the potential of him hitting the portal. And Florida was doing everything they can to make sure it didn't happen. But in the end, Trevor Etienne will be hitting the transfer portal. So, all right. There we go. And maybe we'll see what Florida does. Visits piling up this weekend. A couple more transfers I know are heading in this weekend as well. So, listening to the last episode of Gators Breakdown with Will and I, and got to make sure, I think for a lot of these transfers, get them in early. Get them in on those early weekends because they don't usually take too many visits before deciding. I think a lot of that, of course, to do with tampering. A lot of these guys knows where they're going before they even hit the portal. But if some of these guys don't, and you get these early visits, Florida's got to make these early visits pay off. So, all right, good episode right here. Everybody, thanks for hopping on. Hope you enjoyed the interview with Graham Mertz. Give us a like, subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Go join Florida Victorious. Help that NIL, help those players like Graham Mertz. And that'll do it for this episode of Gators Breakdown. I'm your host, David Waters. You can find me on social media at GatorDave_SEC. Guys and girls out there, thank you for joining me on this episode of Gators Breakdown.